Hi, you're listening to the Tiny Vet Podcast with me, Dr. Nicole Sue, exotics vet, and my fiance.
Jez, intermittent fasting and furious. All right, go on.
Yes, he did say he would keep doing these ones. It is super. I am enthused.
I'm so hungry.
It's been really hard for me as well. He keeps yelling at me whenever I cook.
I don't yell at you. I yell...
Around me?
Around you, yeah. I'm unhappy that there are cookies. Isn't that cruel? Isn't that cruel and unusual punishment to bake cookies in front of somebody who can't eat for 24 hours? I don't think it's nice. Anyway, what's the topic today?
Fish keeping! We are going to talk about keeping fish.
Okay.
And fish keeping, personally, I don't do it because it is so much more work than keeping any other pet.
Yeah, I feel like you've pitched a lot of animals should be entering like our home menagerie,
But never
like
fish.
yeah, you don't really bring up fish.
Yeah, because it's such a hassle. So, fish keeping, the most important thing is water quality.
Yep.
And maintaining that water quality.
Saltwater fish.
Oh
are,
my
brutal.
God, salt. Yeah, no,
Regular
never.
not in saltwater fish is what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about freshwater tanks, man. Like, I'm not even gonna get into marine tanks because the amount of friggin' effort you got to put into those and the maintenance. No, absolutely not.
Right.
So much of it is based on water quality, and what you've got to do, like for let's say starting up a new tank, and a lot of people don't do this, and a lot of people get very frustrated when I tell them to do this. You've got to cycle the tank.
What does that mean?
And that means you've got to let the tank sit without any fish in it. And you got to run the filter and everything like that and keep testing the water once a week.
Wait, so does that mean you have to have two tanks where you take the fish out regularly or what?
No. So
you mean before you get the fish?
Before you get the fish. So it's setting up a tank. Like usually we'll go, oh yeah, I'll get the tank, I'll throw the water in and then in go the fish. That kind of thing. But sometimes you've got to actually prepare the tank for up to 2 months before you add any fish in.
So it looked like you just killed... Like, if someone comes to visit, it looks like you killed all your fish.
And you just have this empty tank.
Yeah. You just have a tank.
But the good thing is that's going to prevent you from killing all your fish. Okay. Because what you're doing with tank cycling is you're trying to establish something called a biological filter. And the biological filter is not a piece of machinery or anything like that. It's actually bacteria. And what the bacteria do is that they help break down nitrogenous waste products so that your fish don't get poisoned by their own poop and die.
Okay. Right.
And what happens is that it takes time to establish these bacterial colonies in your filter, in the tank, and all of that. So that's where the tank cycling comes in. You're establishing these colonies and then slowly challenging them with little amounts of waste until you can say with your regular water testing that, all right, well, this tank and the bacteria that live in this tank, they have risen to the challenge.
Okay, right.
And they can now handle breaking down amounts of nitrogenous waste that akin to the amount that my fish are going to produce.
Okay, right.
So what happens if you don't cycle the tank properly is that you add the fish in and then you get this huge spike of waste products.
Okay,
that nothing is able to break down.
So a biological filter is like beginning filtration process, or
so there's different types of filters.
Because you have mechanical filters and stuff too,
so you have mechanical filters, which mechanically remove.
By the way, I think COVID is a good biological filter for anti-vaxxers. Anyway, so go on.
Mechanical filters, they manually remove particulates from the water. So sponges and stuff like that. You run the water through it traps the bigger particles, and then what comes through is particle free. So that's one case. Chemical filters are another type of filter that might chelate or might precipitate problem.
I vaguely remember the word chelate.
It like heavy metals.
Okay, yeah.
But it removes things from the water, and then it might turn them into particulates that then are removed by the mechanical filter.
Right.
So there's different types of filters, but the biological filter, I think it's because it's invisible.
Okay.
To most owners.
So people don't think about it.
People don't think about it. It was actually the most important part of that whole system.
Yeah, because you want to have all your fish related to each other and stuff, right? Like, so it's a little ecosystem.
Yeah. So for a multi-species tank, you definitely want to have ones that complement each other. But also, like, if you don't, sometimes you'll eat the other ones.
Yeah, for sure.
So
you just have one big fish.
Yeah, you just have one really fat one.
That was an impression of one of our rabbits, right?
No.
The fat rabbit?
He's being really mean to Ella, and I
All right.
like it.
I just want to say, just for the audience, we had 2 rabbits, I think, when we started recording this podcast. Now we have 3. and one of them has gained 400% body weight since we got out of the extra bunk.
Absolutely not.
Man, she's so roly-poly, and I don't think it's good. Anyway, go on.
If you guys have watched Shang-Chi, and if you haven't, you should watch it. It's amazing.
It's good. It's good.
But she looks like Morris, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, she has a butt face.
Hey!
Please, finish up your podcast.
Anyway, the other thing that's very important for water quality
yes, okay.
is
very snippy.
a proper tank size.
Right.
So it makes sense because a bigger tank is going to dilute the waste more effectively.
Right.
And what I always tell people is that there's no such thing as a tank that's too big.
Okay, right.
But there's 100%...
that gives you more buffer.
So much more buffer, 100%.
Yeah.
But there is absolutely a thing that is too small. And what a lot of people think goes in a small tank is a fighting fish because people sell them in friggin' plastic cups. The minimum size for a fighting fish is 11 liters.
Okay.
Which is, I think, 3 or 4 times the size that a lot of people think. Mm-hmm. But partly that's to do with the dilution of waste products. And you're not getting this huge buildup of toxic products. Mm-hmm. The other thing as well is welfare. Mm-hmm. Like, you really shouldn't be keeping any animal in a water glass.
Sure. Yeah. What if, though, like our three-legged rabbit Ella, what if, like, she's expanding to the size of the apartment? So eventually she's going to be larger than the vessel she's in.
Well, then that's a risk you're going to have to take.
It's
just a risk you've got to take for the sake of animal welfare.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Also, goldfish, that's erroneous. So people go, oh, it's fine to keep them in a small tank because they only have like a 5-minute memory. They do not. They actually have quite a good memory. And it has been established that goldfish have better memory than our other rabbit, Dusty, who has severe neurological deficits.
It's been established.
It has been established.
Bodies?
Yeah.
Okay.
On that note, pray for Dusty. The Tiny Vet podcast is brought to you by Upilio. Sources for our topics can be found at upilio.io. Outro music by Matt Charleston.